You ready for it? You ready? It doesn't really matter. Wait, what? Hey, what's up everybody? Jonathan here. What I want to talk about today is what I really think that you should know about making money from photography. There's so much mixed information on the internet, especially on YouTube, where there are YouTubers talking about you do this type of photography, focus on this kind, and you could make a lot of money for the month. Don't do this one too much because there's not only so much money to be made. Or get this gear and you'll get the shots that you need. And that's what you really need to focus on. Getting better and money will come, money will follow. I don't believe any of that. It's not my experience. What I do believe is that there's a way to go about this. There's skills that are similar in some successful photographers, and those characteristics are not really a strong point in some of the other photographers that don't make too much money. Now, before we get into it here, could you really make money with photography? Let's just get that barrier out of the way. Whether it's that you're looking to make some extra cash, just want to monetize your hobby, or maybe you have a full-time job and you want to make some extra money on the side. You have other expenses, or you're thinking about photography as a full-time job, something to replace your day job, a new career, a switch in career. As a matter of fact, there's a video right now on the Glamour YouTube channel where this photographer talks about how she budgets her income for the year. And her income is $125,000. How does that sound to you? How does $125,000 sound to you? Could that cover your mortgage? Could that cover your loans? Could that cover all of your expenses? I don't know about you, but I think that sounds pretty good. The next mental barrier is that, do you need to be well-known? Do you need to be a well-known photographer? Do you need to be a celebrity? Have some kind of celebrity status? Sure, it would help. Of course it would help. It's so much easier to reach out or contact somebody or even hire somebody if you know who they are. They're famous. They're somebody that everybody knows. But believe it or not, there are some unknown, and when I say unknown photographers, they are known to you and I. We are not their target audience. However, their target audience knows about them. And believe it or not, in some cases, and probably in a lot of cases, these unknowns makes a lot more than these guys. Why does it look like I'm pointing at myself? I actually meant the well-known photographers over on that end. But I'm sure this is not the first video on YouTube like this that you saw, and you're probably now waiting for me to tell you what kind of photography you should do. Whether it's weddings, whether it's product photography, whether it's food photography that you could probably make the most amount of money with. You ready for it? You ready? It doesn't really matter. Wait, what? The truth is that once you decide that whether it's food photography or weddings or product photography, once you decide on one and you go all in, once you put all of your efforts towards one type of photography and you start building that audience, you get those initial customers and you become known for being that guy who takes amazing product photos. Then at that point, you can decide if you want to do a little bit of some other types of photography because you're already making money in one area. Let's say somebody stumble upon your Instagram profile and they see that you have a picture of a wedding, you have a picture of some food, you have product photos, you have some family photos, you have photos of cars, but they were in the market for a wedding photographer. What does those car pictures do for them? What does the products do for them? You don't want somebody to just like your photos. You want customers. Am I right? So imagine if that same potential customer was to stumble upon your page, but even though you had an interest in cars and food or whatever else, your main focus, the first area where you were actually monetizing was weddings. So you made sure that your online presence focused on that. Don't you think they would be much more interested in reaching out to you because they want to make sure that there's somebody here? This guy, he's an experienced wedding photographer. He does a lot of weddings. Almost all the pictures that I'm seeing is along weddings. But can you make money from photography? Here's what I want you to know. There's a difference from the people who are really good at their craft. I want to say good at their craft. They're good at taking pictures. They know their camera inside out. And post-production is amazing. But that doesn't mean that they're making any money at all. See, what I've found is that there's a particular set of skills that separates photographers that are really good at taking photos and those that actually make money from taking photos. So there are three things that I've found that really separates those photographers that don't really make much money to the ones that actually make money sustainably, consistently on a month-to-month basis. The first thing is the ability to create an online presence. When I say create an online presence, I don't mean just posting anything on social media, because that's what you're supposed to do, post something on social media, right? What I mean is wherever you're seen online, there really should be a website and social media channels to support your overall brand. Your online presence should be shaped in a way to get your potential customers to want to contact you, to hire you. It needs to be clear that you are the photographer for them. The next thing now is paid advertising. Just like any other business, you need to spend some money to make money, especially when you're just starting off. By creating effective ads, you're putting together the right message in front of the right audience by targeting your potential customers. And by that way, you get these leads, these potential buyers, these people who are ready to hire you, or they're very much interested. And when you actually bring them into the mix now, they take a look at your social media channels, they take a look at your website, they see that you have an online presence. So that is how those two things work together to start to build that trust and get them closer towards hiring you. But is that it? What if they actually decide to call? How do you now turn them into a buyer? How do you now actually turn them into your customer? This takes me to the third skill, which is sales. I know what you're probably thinking. We didn't even talk about Photoshop or Lightroom or what camera you should use. And we're not going to, because the truth is, those things don't get you hired. So sales. Sales is such a critical skill to develop, because you can spend that money in paid advertising and reach the right audience, get them into your space, into your ecosystem. They're seeing your website, they're seeing your social media, they think that you're the person for them. And when they get on the phone with you, what happens? You lose them. As a photographer, I realized quickly how important it is to start building that one-on-one relationship as soon as possible. It's so important to get that one-on-one going. Of course, it could start on the phone, but what I recommend is getting that meeting set up as soon as possible. Setting up that initial meeting from the phone call is so important, where you can now start uncovering what it is that this potential client really wants and how you, as a photographer, can make that happen for them, and letting them see throughout the process that you are the best person for the job because of your experience, because of you understanding what it is that they need to do. Now, do you really need to have these skills all fine-tuned and developed from the get-go? Of course not. These things happen along the way. When I was just starting off, I didn't have any of that. I just had a little bit of knowledge of Facebook advertising because of my experience running a digital agency. But you figure it out along the way. As I started running advertisements on Facebook and Instagram, I learned what worked, what didn't work, and I got better at it. And from there, I started to build that online presence, build a website, and craft the right messages, post the right photos in my portfolio, figure out what worked, what didn't work, putting the right kind of information on my contact us page. That didn't just happen like that, especially with meetings, because I think I'm an introvert. I really wasn't that comfortable with meeting people and turning them into my client. But over time, doing something, repeating over and over, I became more comfortable. I learned what worked, what didn't work, what type of questions that I could ask, what kinds I should not ask, the information that I need in order to move the process forward, the things that they might have some objections for, and address those things from the beginning of the conversation so that it doesn't even come up. And that didn't happen overnight, that happened over some years. But the truth is, developing those three skills is what helped me immensely. Creating an online presence, paid advertising, and sales. That is what helped me from being an alright photographer, but still generating enough income on a regular basis. I mean, I improved over time with my photography, but what motivated me was actually getting hired. And it's what I noticed that really separated the photographers that make money consistently with those that don't. So if it is that you're really thinking about making money from photography, I want you to strongly consider looking at those three skills and see how you can start developing it, to start taking some action. It is going to help you to generate an income, take things up to the next level. Now, I hope this video was helpful to you. Let me know in the comments down below if you had any questions. And I'll see you guys in the next video.